Morning, morning, everyone. Welcome to our session here this morning.
Good morning,
Uh,
Chris. Good morning, everyone.
Morning, David. Morning. Let me just adjust one or two quick things. Just to let you know, let's see. Hold on. Let me just fix this real quick. For some reason, the live stream onto Facebook is not connecting, so it's not going to be live stream on Facebook on this session. But we are recording this right now, and we'll get the recording of this session uh, sent out to you within 24 hours, as usual. And let me just clear off a couple things here, and we'll get started. We're probably going to get a few more people coming in, but we always start on time, and we're a little bit late. It's 9:31 right now, so we're going to go ahead and get started right now. Okay, so just bear with me a sec, and I'll get our screen ready. And everybody can hear me okay, right? Just raise your hand or give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay, if I'm coming across loud and clear. Okay, awesome. Let's see here. Okay. Hold on, let me clear out this. Okay, so today's topic, let me just answer this. Somebody is trying to get in. Okay, so today's topic is how to handle objections. Do we get objections in our line of work? Yes or no? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let me pull this up here. Okay, awesome. So today's topic is how to handle objections like a seasoned professional sales superstar. Very important with confidence and professionalism, isn't it? Have you ever uh, received an objection and then it's like, oh no, what do I say? And then you just like something comes off the top of your head, and then two things, right? The first scenario is that something magical happened and your brain was like in full functioning mode, and it said, "Oh, this is what I'm going to answer," and the words came out and it was so beautiful and it was so persuasive and it was so compelling, okay? And and the prospect said, "You know what? You're right. I'm going to buy." And then, the other scenario is uh, you don't know what to say, and then you like fumble through it, and then you feel like, oh no, I sounded not so smart or not so professional when I said it. Okay, so the first one, okay, good, the first scenario, right? But if those words came out of us, that means we're capable of it. So what we need to do is we need to have written it down, or at least like made a record of it, so that we can use that in our repertoire of handling objections. Okay. Uh, David, yes, kind of. Okay. That's one of the techniques, and we'll go through a few of them today. The other scenario, when you don't know what to say or you're not sure and then you fumble, do you want that to stop? Right? Okay. So, do you know how to? Well, here's my question to you. Do you know how to professionally and confidently handle the objections that you hear every day. If if I hear somebody tell me, "Oh, I don't get objections every day," then what I would say is, then you're not talking to prospects and leads every day. You must have objections every day, because if you have objections every day, what that means is that you're talking to somebody that you can sell to every single day, right? I mean, that just makes sense. Okay, things like not interested, right? We all get that. Let me think about it. Check with my wife, my husband if it's a B2C. Check with my boss, department head. Check with the board. That's B2B. Too expensive, no budget, cannot afford it, and all the rest of the objections that we get. And, would it make a difference in your confidence, in your professionalism, and most importantly, your sales results, right? If you knew the right structure and the right formula to handle and overcome any objection that you encounter. Okay. And the reason why I say structure and formula is because handling objections is not a talent. How to handle objections professionally and confidently is not a talent, it's a skill. And my sincere belief is that it is a skill because I developed this skill over 20 years ago. And I'm not saying I'm an expert in handling objections, but what I do, I know that sounds weird. What I do is that I practice my responses to my objections every single day. All right. And if we have time today, I'm going to show you one of our scripts. It's going to show you how we intro ourselves, how we how we make the initial call, and then I'm going to show you the objections that we attach to that script. And every script that we use is customized for a particular industry, a particular product or service that we sell. Okay. Now there's so many different kinds of objections, and the most common ones are, like I said, the not interested. Let me think about it. Too much money, cannot afford. And most of the times when these comes up, we'll go into why these objections come up. All right, so let's get on with this, shall we? Now, when clients engage us or when they learn, right? Um, you see, knowing how to do it is one thing. Having a tool in your hands is one thing, but picking up and using it on a daily basis is something else. All right. It's something that I call applied knowledge. Applied knowledge means you have the skill, or you have the script, or you have the set of words, and what you need to do is you need to be able to take action on it every day. And one of the things that I am confident, that I truly believe in, and I see it in our clients and students. When you have the skill and you apply it, damn, it works. Now, you have to understand it's not going to work 100% of the time, but it's going to work more than what you're experiencing now. Okay. And if there's a way that we can increase your confidence, your effectiveness, and your professionalism in the sales process, and handling objections is a crucial part in your sales process, isn't it? If we can improve that, instead of oh, it's too much money. Oh, I give you a discount. Oh, and then I don't know what to say, and then I just go away. Versus you handle that objection, and then you take it to the next step. You handle objection, take it to the next step. You trial close. All right. We'll go over the structure as well. So we're gonna cover three things today. Why objections, types of objections, and the structure and responses. Okay. Let me ask you a question. Just by you can type in the chat. Here's the question. The question is, how do you feel when someone gives you an objection? Because maybe you felt like confident, like, okay, they're gonna say yes, they're gonna buy, and then they go, oh, it's too much money, or I'm not interested, I need to think about it. How do you feel when you get an objection like that? Maybe you type in the chat. Just let me know what your thought process is when you get an objection. So I'll wait a couple seconds. Okay, did not do the job well in the beginning stage of the sales conversation. All right, I accept that. I accept that. We can think of that. Uh, Objections means they're still interested in what you're promoting or selling. Could, yes, I agree. Rosemary, is it Rosemary? Okay. Disappointed. Okay, Rosemary. What is the product or service that you sell? Can you just type in the chat? Real estate. Okay. So the objections that you get are probably like, oh, I don't like the configuration. I don't like the area. The price is a little bit too high for me. I don't know if I can get my ROI back. You know, things like that, right? Okay. Um, we're gonna cover some of these objections, and we're gonna cover, uh, why objections are important and sometimes not important. Okay. So when I was first starting out in my sales career, almost 30 years ago, okay, when someone gave me an objection, right, I got, same like Rosemary, I got disappointed. I got disappointed. Then that's a very good comment. Okay, um, that's the start of self-analysis. Okay, so when someone gave me an objection, many years ago, I was like, you're interested to buy. I think you're interested. I know you can afford it. Why are you giving me this objection? I was like getting angry. Like the anger was coming out. Why are you lying to me, right? Or I felt disappointed. Like, oh, I thought this was I was going to close the deal, and then you gave me the objection, and then it's like I don't know what to say. All kinds of emotions come out. So one of the things that I learned many years ago is that I had to improve. I had to improve in the way that I handle objections, and I realized that we don't need to be afraid of objections. In fact, we should kind of welcome it because have you ever had a conversation with a prospect, right? And they're just agreeing with everything that you're saying, and they're not giving you any obstacles. They're not giving you any objections, and then they just disappear, and then it's not a sale. Okay. Sometimes when they don't give objections in their mind, they're not going to buy from you. All right. So, objections, right? Anything that a prospect says or does that's an obstacle or a challenge to a smooth closing. It might be an explicit expression that there's some kind of barrier between the current situation and what they need to do in order to buy from you or to engage your services. Okay, uh, the explicit expression could be them saying something, or them saying, like when you say, "Hey, do you, this is the price range," and then they go, "Wow," like that. Even a nonverbal can be an objection. And if it's nonverbal, you do want to ask, "Oh, what are you feeling right now?" So you want to draw the objection out so that you have the opportunity to respond to it. Okay, so any communication or any form of communication that means no when you ask for an appointment or for the sale. Okay, uh, an objection doesn't always come out when you're asking them to buy. Uh, an objection can be, can be at every stage of the sales process. Okay. For example, hey, this is Chris. Is this John? Do you have a minute to talk? No, I don't have time right now. How many times have we heard that, right? Or, I like to set, basically, right? I like to set an appointment so we can go over some of the details. No, 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 I'm not interested, right? So objections occur at every part of the sales process. Even after you've closed the deal, some questions come up. Oh, I thought it was this. That can be classified under objections as well. All right. One of the things that we need to realize is this. Okay, we are all professionals. Okay, uh, we're all professionals. I believe and I am confident that everybody would agree with me on that. Okay, if we are professionals, we have to realize this. Okay, buyers are objection giving professionals. They're professionals in objection giving, okay, in raising objections, because almost all buyers start with no. And it's a very normal human behavior, because when you're asked to buy something, it's like whoosh, your defenses come up, right? Your defenses come up, and it's like, oh no, this person is asking me to buy something. I'll give you an example. Even if you know that you want to buy something, and you know that you want to buy it, you also have, a little bit of fear, because you're parting with your money, even though you want that particular item, right? And then you start thinking to yourself, oh, you know what, maybe it's too expensive, maybe I need to think about it, maybe I need to ask permission, whatever that is. We do that, right? We Okay. uh let's say we want to buy, not me, yeah, but let's say a lady wants to buy a dress. So they would go to a boutique, right? So they know they want to buy a dress. Or maybe a gentleman wants to buy like a suit or a shirt or a tie, whatever it is. So we go to the boutique. Okay. When we go to the boutique and we enter the boutique, there's a sales associate there. Normally they say, hi, welcome, can I help you? What is our normal response to that? Anybody want to just type in the chat? What is our normal response to that? When somebody says, welcome to our shop, welcome to our store, can I help you? What do we normally say? Just type in your response in the chat. I can hear somebody typing. Let's do this. Rosemary, can you put your microphone on real quick? I'll just ask you one or two quick questions.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so let's say you want to buy a dress, right? Let's say you want to buy a dress. You know you want to buy a dress because you have, let's say, a function coming up. And you go to the boutique, and the sales associate says to you, hi, welcome to our wonderful boutique. How can I help you? Or can I help you? What would you normally respond with?
You give the specifics of the dress you want to buy.
Okay, would you do that right at the very beginning?
It would save time.
Okay. Yes, it would save time. It would save time. I would agree with you. Uh, but do we normally say, no, 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 I'm just looking? We normally say
Yes,
that,
if you
right?
have no intention of buying, yes.
Well, even if you have intention of buying, most of us would say, no, no, I'm just looking. Because when we're faced with a conversation that we're going to buy something, or someone's trying to sell us something, our defenses come up, because we don't want to get, we don't want to be taken disadvantage of. Okay, do we kind of agree with that? um, because almost all buyers start with no. When someone says, hey, can I help you buy something? No, 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 I'm just looking. All right, because that's what we deal with the most often. And in all sales situations, whatever product or service that you're selling, in all sales situations, you're asking someone to make a change. And we as human beings, we are very, very resistant to change, right? We're resistant to change because we have habits, we're familiar with something, and we're comfortable. Okay, we're comfortable with our current situation. All right. And so someone's asking you to make a change, whether it's for a personal product or a business service. Now, the reason that you need to know how to handle objections is because you don't want to have to go home and study every time you hear an objection. Because when you master objections, you master the techniques of overcoming objections, it will earn you a very good living. And Rosemary, you're such a wonderful prospect. I would love to sell something to you. Okay, now let me ask you this. We have two things that you see on your screen. We have something called objections, and we have something called conditions. Does anybody know what is a condition versus an objection? Because an objection is like, I'm not interested, cannot afford it, check with my whatever, happy with our current supplier right now. So what's a condition? Okay, we know what an objection is, right? And if we know what an objection is, we have to realize what a condition is. Celine, it could be, this is how I would define what Celine said is, okay, Celine said not now. David says must be fulfilled in order to purchase minimum standards. You're all quite close. A condition is something that is occurring in that situation that prevents the buyer from buying. Okay, and sometimes our prospects say we don't have the money, right? If they don't have the money, if they really really don't have the money, they cannot buy, and that's a condition. For example, in insurance, if let's say they have a serious health condition, that might prevent them from getting covered, from getting underwritten. That's a condition. If let's say there's something that is actually really preventing the buyer from making a purchase, that is a condition. So we need to realize that an objection means that we can get the sale or at least the next step to move forward. A condition is no matter what you do, they will not buy or they cannot buy. Okay, so we need to realize these two things. And sometimes when someone gives you an objection, but it's really a condition, and we kind of trick ourselves into continuing the conversation because we think that they can still buy. And I will still push that until I come to a point where I realize that they cannot buy from me. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Now, I'd like to make a few promises to you. I sincerely respect your time and effort in being here with us, on our session this morning. My first promise to you is that I will not waste your time. And I commit to you that I'll share relevant, valuable, and timely information on this session. You don't need to believe everything I say. You don't need to think I like and trust Chris, even though I'm quite likable. I'll back up everything that I share with you, and I think that's fair. Now, we're also recording this session, and we'll get it sent to you within 24 hours as a YouTube link, so you can replay, fast forward, and rewind the parts that you want to hear and watch again. It's going to be sent to you. No, this one will be a public link. Okay. Now, all the sessions that I do, they're not a pitch fest. There's no hard selling, and there's no getting you to buy anything at an unreasonable or inflated price or, bonus. There's none of that. Now, I may offer services or products and explain them, but there's no hard selling, and I think this sounds fair, right? And I'd like to ask you a favor. You'll probably have questions along the way. So what I ask you to do is, either write down your question and you can ask it during the Q&A we'll have at the end of our session, or you can type your question in the chat and I'll monitor it and I'll get to it, if it's appropriate at that moment. If not, we'll keep it till the end. Okay. So write down your questions because I'm here to help you answer any questions that you have, on sales in general. But on today's topic is handling objections. Okay. So let's find out why why your prospects, raise objections. They think they don't have enough money or budget. I'm not going to read out all of the reasons. Okay. I'll highlight this one. They're not convinced of the value. An exchange takes place when the value of your product or your service is higher than the money that they have in their credit card, their wallet, or their bank. Okay? The value of your product has to be here, and the money that they're going to give out to you has to be here. If they value the money more than your product or service, the exchange is not going to take place. Okay? And you also have to realize that there are some things that cause them to raise objections. Now, on a positive side, your prospects raise objections when they have a question, and that's what David was saying. It's like, or somebody was saying earlier, where it's a step in the right direction, because now what we're doing is we're having a conversation. Okay, so if they ask a question, you should feel happy they're asking a question because it gives you the chance to have a conversation. and show them that you can answer that question so that you can move on to the next step in the sales process. So, how do you improve in your handling of objections? How do you improve in the skills of handling objections? Okay, the very first step is that you have to identify the objections that you get in your business, in your profession, in your industry. Okay, you have to identify all the objections that you get, and in any industry, there's really about 7 to 12 objections. There's only 7 to 12 objections, and they're put in different categories. Now, they might have different words, but we can classify them into those 7 to 12 types of objections. And that's the good news. The good news is there's not thousands of different types of objections. Okay, there's only 7 to 12. If there's only 7 to 12, it's so easy. Okay, if you choose to do it, it's easy to write out, to identify those objections and write it out. Okay? And you must write it out. You cannot think, oh, this objection, and then you think in your head. You cannot do that. You can either type it out or you can write it out. Once you identify the objections and you write it out, then what you do is you list out the responses. You list out the responses that you would give to that objection. Now, let me ask you this question. I'll ask you a question, and then you just type a number in the chat. Okay? My question is this: how many responses should you have to each objection? Okay? So type the number in the chat. How many responses do you think you should have, okay, to each objection that you get? How many responses? Do you think it's 1? Do you think it's 3? Do you think it's 2? How many responses? Two to three. Celine, 3. Okay. Now, the question was how many should you have, right? You don't need to answer this one in the chat or out loud. Ask yourself this question. If you say that you should have 2 to 3 responses, and I'll explain why you should have more than that. But minimum, you should have at least one, but you really should have more than that, okay? Now, ask yourself this question. If you say that we should have 1 response, 3 responses, or 5 responses, ask yourself this very honest question. For every objection that you get in your business, in your profession, in your industry, how many responses do you actually have that are written out that you're extremely comfortable and familiar with, and you know that when you use it, it takes the sales process to the next step? Okay? Ask yourself that question. Now, why should you have more than, well, the minimum you should have is 1. You should have 1 extremely effective response to an objection. Now, have you ever had a situation where, they gave you an objection, let's say, hey, you know what, I think the price is too high, and then you responded to it, and you thought you responded to it very well, and then they gave you the same objection almost immediately or later. If you only have 1 response, can you give that response again? You cannot, right? So if you think about your sales conversations, people, your prospects, might give the same objection more than once. Or when you say, hey, you know what, when you respond to the objection and then you say, hey, does that make sense? Do you kind of agree with that? And then they say no, and then you don't know what to say after that. That's why you need more than 1 response. Okay? Now, I'm going to share 2 methods of answering an objection. I actually have 9 methods or techniques of answering an objection. And we're doing a training in July, in the 6th, 7th, and 8th of July. I'll share some details with you about that later. I'll go over the 9 ways to handle an objection. Okay, the first way that we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about 2 today, is we're going to solve the problem. The second is we're going to turn the objection into a benefit. So what does that mean? So what it means is when someone gives you an objection, um, n- uh, it's not always that they're trying to block the sale. Uh, Sometimes they really have a situation that they think prevents them from moving forward in this into the sales process, and they just don't know how to solve that particular situation. Okay, sometimes it's the money, sometimes it's the logistics, sometimes it's whatever the case is. So in my company, we do several different products, several different services. So training is not all that we do. My As a company, we also sell products. We also sell services. We also sell products and services for other companies. Okay, as a service. So how do we solve the problem? Okay, let's say we're talking to a B2B, for example, and they say, you know what, our budget for this quarter. Oh, that reminds me. Today is what is today's date? Today is what is today's date? The 25th, right? 25th. Do you, ladies and gentlemen, do you realize that we're 5 more days, roughly, I think, right? 5 more days to the end of June. And so, what's the significance of that? There's actually no significance to the end of June because it's something in our mind. However, I'll say this, okay? At the end of June, what happens is it becomes the 1st of July. What's the 1st of July? The first of July is the first day of the rest of the year for the second half of 2021. Okay? So what does that mean? What that means is we have a psychological advantage on the 1st of July to get our asses in gear and do better in the second half of 2021 than either we're doing or have done in the first half of 2021. Okay, so let's say somebody says, you know what, our budget for this quarter is gone. Okay, I like it. I like it when I hear that. I really, really like it because they're telling me that they want to buy, but they just cannot take the budget out because the budget's gone for this quarter, for example. Okay, so what I would do, because I have the flexibility, I'm not saying that you should do it. What I'm saying is that I have the flexibility to make this decision. And this is actually one of our responses. My response is, you know what, no problem. Let's forget about the money for 1 second. If you did have the budget, you would buy this right now, correct? And I want to hear yes. Then I say, you know what, then we can solve this problem. How we solve this problem is we will give you the product or service first, and then we will bill you at the start of next quarter so that you can tap into the budget for next quarter. Does that sound like a plan? I've used this so many times, and it has probably worked 70 to 80% of the time. So how can you use that in a B2C? Okay. Oh, I don't have the money right now. Okay, I understand you don't have the money right now. When would you have the money? I'll probably have it on my paycheck next week or next month. No problem. We'll lock in this order for you right now, and you can pay when you get your next batch of money. Okay, so we can do things like that. All right. Let's say we go into the next one. Turn the objection into a benefit. We have to understand what a benefit is, and we have to understand what a feature is of a product or service. Okay, a benefit is when your prospect gets this, what do they get out of it? Do they save time? Do they save money? Does it increase their pride? They have to have a benefit. Do they become more comfortable? Is it more convenient for them? Okay, let's talk about the money. Okay, let's say you have a luxury item. One of the things that a lot of sales reps, marketing professionals, business owners, right? One of the things they say, especially a sales team, right? They say, "Oh, we need our price to be lower. We need our price to be lower," right? "Oh, I think this is too expensive. We need to lower the price." If price was always a really important factor in a buying decision, I'm not saying that it's not, What I'm saying is that value has to be here and the price has to be here. What that means is that you have to elevate the value. And how you elevate the value, and we've talked about this in the first 5 sessions of this series, right? How to increase value, how to be more persuasive, how to have a sales conversation, how to qualify. We talked about all those things. So if price was really an issue, if price was really an issue, there would not be any luxury watches. There would not be Mercedes, Jaguar, Lexus, all those kinds of cars on the road, because those are more expensive, right? There would not be luxury condos. There would not be luxury exclusive homes if price was always an issue. Okay, so we have to focus on the need and we have to focus on the benefit that they get. So what you do is you turn the objection into a benefit. And usually when we turn the objection into a benefit, let's say, for example, now I will admit this, I am not extremely well known in the market, even though I've been doing this for 23 years. Okay, I'm more of a boutique service provider. Okay, the our clients um, find out about us not because we're splash everywhere in social media, not because we run ads all the time. In fact, I would say that before you came on this series, this webinar series, or before we met in some way, you probably didn't know who I was. All right. And when I hear that, when I hear that from a prospect, I would turn that into a benefit. I design it that way. I design it that way because I want to work with my clients on a more intimate, professional, and customized basis, rather than take this and this fits everybody. So I would turn that into a benefit. Uh, and sometimes, when your price is higher, you want to bring that objection up first. For example, if you're selling luxury homes, luxury condo, luxury items, higher price items, you would bring up that objection first because you know that you always get, hey, you know what, the price is extremely high. So you bring it up first, okay? And how you would do that is our pricing is extremely high because the quality is this, and I'll explain why the quality is that. And the reason we do that is because our product will last 30, 40, 50 years. Example. So that's how you turn the objection into a benefit. All right. Now there's a sequence for handling objections, and I'm going to share that with you. Okay. This is the objection handling sequence. You don't ignore the objection. There's a way to ignore the objection. I'm going to teach you, if you were to attend the training on the July 6th, 7th, and 8th, I will teach you how to ignore the objection. It's not like, oh, don't tell me the objection. It's not that. It's that you ignore it, and there's ways to do it that's extremely, extremely effective. Okay? But the first step is we acknowledge the objection. Oh, thank you for sharing that with me. Repeat it or restate it. So you're saying the price is too high. Okay, so you repeat their objection, and then you clarify it. You clarify it. Example would be: are you saying that the price is too high, or that you're not getting enough benefit, out of the product or service? So you want to clarify it because sometimes the price is too high doesn't mean the price is too high, right? So you clarify what do you exactly mean by the price is too high. And then you isolate the objection. I can tell you that almost nobody does this. In fact, I'll tell you right now, 80 to 90% of sales professionals, business owners, entrepreneurs, they do not do this. They do not isolate. What is the meaning of isolate? Isolate means you take the objection and you isolate it, because we want to know, is this a real objection, or is it a fake objection, or do they have other things on their mind, that we would perceive as objections, and you want to bring them out. So this is how we do it. Let's say that they said, okay, we're using the price example, right? Okay, so do you mean the price is too high or the value is too low? All right. Then they answer that. So let me ask you this question. Other than, this is the important part, other than the price being too high, is there any other reason why you would not buy this product or service today. Okay, so what does that do? It does two things. The first is if they say, yeah, actually, we just need to work on the price, then you know you have a deal because all you got to do is negotiate the price, right? Then it becomes simple because you just have to answer that one question, help them either with the financing or the budget or the timing, whatever it is. So the second is they'll think like, yeah, actually, I have a question about this also. And what that does is it brings out the objection right now so that you can handle and address that. And this is the pivot point. This is the pivot point. Okay. Other than the price being too high, is there any other reason why you wouldn't say yes to this deal today? Do you see how powerful that is? Okay. And you can use it on any product and any service that you have. All right. Now, then you answer the objection. This is where the response comes in. Your response determines what you do after that point. Okay, let's say you respond, and this is why we need more than one response because this is the structure. So you answer the objection. Do you agree with that? Is that clear? Some kind of question that gets him to say, "Yeah, I agree with your response." Now, what happens if they don't agree with your response? Then that's when you have to have more than one response. Okay, does that make sense? Yes, it does. Great. So do you want to get this now? Do you want to put a down payment? You take it to the next step. If they say no, it doesn't make sense. If you only have one response or two responses, what do you say if they ask that question more than one or two times? Right? Let me do this right now. What we're going to do next is we're going to look at some objections, and I'm going to give you a few of the most common objections, and then I'm going to give you a couple responses. But I want to show you something first. Okay, let me do this. I'll stop the share. Actually, I'll keep the sharing. I want to show you this. Okay. One of the things that I talked about earlier is that you got to list out your objections. Okay, you have to list out your objections, and you have to come up with the responses to your objections. I'm telling you that takes a lot of work because you need first of all you need to identify the objections, and then you need to come up with the responses. And then how do you know if the responses work? There's a few ways to do it. You can create a mastermind group with your coworkers or your networking friends in a similar industry, and then you brainstorm the responses. Another way is that I do have this. Okay, this is the how to handle every single objection. Okay, remember I said that there are 7 to 12 basic objections in any industry for any product and service. What we did was we came up with 31. You're not going to have all 31 in your business. You're going to have 7 to 12 categories, right? But what we did was we came up with 31. And what we found is that there are actually a lot more objections, but they all fit into one of these 31. All right. So what we did was we give you bridges to the conversation. Okay. Because you cannot say, oh, price is too high, oh, and then go straight into the response. You have to have the structure. Okay. Then we go into the objections. Don't have time, not a good time, calling it a bad time. So these are the responses that we have. Don't have time. We got 17 responses. Okay, I'm too busy. We have 21. Some of them will have less. Some of them will have more. Okay, don't do long contracts. We got 10. How long will this take? This one's a very easy one. So we got all of these. Okay, for the price objection. Let me bring it up here. Okay, for the price objection, too expensive, cost too much, don't have enough money, down payment is too much. All these are in the is too much money. How many responses do you think that you should have to the price objection? Anybody want to guess? Just type in the chat a number that you think that a number of responses that we should have to the price objection? How many responses do you think that we need for the price objection? Just type a number in. Is it 3? Is it 5? Is it 7? Okay, George 3, Yati 3. Anyone higher than 3? Muhammad 3. Why is everybody saying 3? Okay, I'm going to show you how many responses we have to the price objection. Okay, because this is what we get the most often, isn't it? Right? $42. You get 42 responses to the price objection. Okay. Now, a subset of the price objection is I don't have the budget. Okay. 10 responses to that. My friend, my cousin can get it cheaper. Okay. Another 11. If we add these up, can't afford it. Okay. Another 13. We probably have 60 to 70 responses to a money objection. Okay. We have 31 objections in this manual. We just for the price category, we probably have 70 responses. Do you need to memorize all 70? No. What you do need to do is you need to practice all 70 and you pick 5 to 10. 5 to 10 that you master and you use all the time. Okay? I hope that makes sense. And I'll share with you how you can give this if you want later on. Okay, so let's look at some objections. The first objection that we're going to look at is I'm not interested. I mean, we get that, right? I'm not interested. So I'll give you 3 possible responses. And normally with an objection like this, in fact, most of the objections that we get, we want to ask a question first. The question is, oh, why not? And when you say, oh, why not, you're not just saying, oh, why not? All right? If you're face to face or you can see the face, it's like, huh? Why not? You give like, you're not going to say this, but you're going to go, huh? Why not? In that way, because you're going to make them reevaluate what they just said. Because people will normally say, I'm not interested as the first objection, right? So this is a technique of ignoring it, all right? You want them to reevaluate what you just said, and so you give them like a silly face, like, huh? Like a confused face, like, huh? Why not? It's like, you're not interested. This is so good. And don't say this, okay? Don't say this. It's like, you must be stupid for saying that. And you don't say you're stupid for saying that. Your face goes, huh? Why not? Right? And then they go, yeah, you know what? Actually, what I said is actually pretty dumb. So you make them reevaluate what they just said. Another response could be, I understand that you're not interested. If you were kind of interested, in this product or service, why do you think you would be? So if you're selling a house, selling a property, selling training, selling insurance, selling image, selling whatever it is, I understand you're not interested right now. But what would make you interested, or why do you think you would be interested? Or I'd be interested if it had this. That's not a first response, because you need a little bit of rapport. And we covered rapport in the previous session. You need a little bit of rapport to be able to take it a little further. Similar is what would cause some interest for you. Okay, and if I were you, ladies and gentlemen, what I would do right now is I would take a screenshot. I would take a screenshot. I take a picture of the screen, so that you can start building. You can start building your responses, to the I'm not interested objection. So I'll give you like 5 seconds to take a screenshot or a picture, and then we'll move on to the next one. Okay. Okay, we're moving on to the next one. the price is too high. We do get that, right? We get the price is too high. Yes, everybody does. And the first response is, why do you say that? Why do you say it's too high? How much high is too high? Maybe they're thinking is like I want a 3% discount, or I'm more in the range of this price range. Another question or response is, you see, when we talk about responses, yeah, it's not always like scientific data and you got to talk about a long story. Sometimes it's just a question that you ask to make them reevaluate what they just said. Okay. Uh, are you saying the price is too high or the value is not high enough? Now, if they say the value is not high enough, then that gives you a chance to find out what is their definition of value. And one of the ways to do that is what a technique that I call buyer fingerprints. Okay, buyer fingerprints means that you find out what is their decision making process for that particular product and service. And that's a very advanced technique that I'll cover on the 6th, 7th, and 8th of July on the training session. That technique alone will get you to understand the buying process and the decision making process that your prospect has. And if you know what their decision making or buying decision making process or their buying process is in their head, you can present to exactly that. That means we're selling to their criteria and their requirements. Okay. Now, this one's some people think that this is irritating. It is irritating, isn't it? I want to think about it. Let me think about it. It's like in my head, it's like when somebody says that. Okay, so you're gonna think about it. So you're gonna think about it for the next 24 hours. You're not gonna do anything else except think about this for the next 24 hours. All right. When somebody says, "I want to think about it," it's really two situations. The first is they really want to tell you no, but they don't want to tell you no. So they tell you, let me think about it. So when somebody says, let me think about it, we really need to determine two things. Are they really thinking about it? Or are they really telling you no, but they don't want to tell you no? Okay. So we give them the benefit of the doubt. All right. But we also want to push a little bit in a different scenario. To push a little bit is like, I understand that you want to think about it. What did you need to specifically think about? Then, if you have the rapport, if they're semi-serious in making a buying decision, then you have a discussion. If they say no, I just want to think about it, then you probably don't have a deal. Okay. In fact, one of the things that I say,
I'm in a
one of
meeting.
one of the things that I say when someone tells me that is that I'll go through what is on the screen, and then I'll share with you the little extra that I add. Okay. I'll replace the last question at the bottom of the screen with something else. So this is how I do it sometimes. And when I say sometimes, it's not like I do it today, I don't do it tomorrow. I do it on a case by case basis. And this is why you need to have more than one or two or three responses. Okay. So let's say someone says, "Hey Chris, I need to think about it." Don't fight them. Hey, you know what? John, no problem. I definitely want you to think about it. In fact, some of my best clients, they thought very hard about the decision. In fact, the longer they thought about it, the more sense this makes. Okay. And then I'll say something like, "When do you want me to get back to you?" We need to pinpoint the day and time. Or I'll say something like, "But let me ask you this question. Sometimes I get people telling me that they want to think about it, but they're really saying no. So do you really want to think about it, or are you just shy to tell me no?" So I'm forcing the yes, I'm forcing the no. Because if it's a no, I want to find out, because I don't want to put them in my lead system, I don't want to put them in my sales process. I'll put them into a different funnel where I'll follow up with them. I'll find out, is it a no forever, or is it a no right now? Does that make sense? Because sometimes people will tell you no today, and you've had people tell you no today, and then 3 months later or 6 months later, they bought from you, right? And this is why you need more than one response. Now, so I covered the most basic three of the most basic objections that we get. Hopefully, you get them on a daily basis. Why do I say hopefully you get them on a daily basis? The reason is if you get objections on a daily basis, that means you're talking to prospects and leads on a daily basis. So, why do we have to master handling objections? You have to be selective because not every response is going to work for you. You have to innovate and experiment. You have to think and analyze about the response. One of the best ways to do this is to study persuasive people. Study persuasive people. All right. If you have coworkers, everybody has handled objections like Superman at least one time. Okay. The problem is not that they handle it like Superman or Wonder Woman or whatever. The problem is that one time. Okay. What we need to do is we need to handle the objections confidently, effectively, and professionally every single time. And innovate, experiment, think and analyze, study persuasive people, ask your peers how they handle objections. Another fast solution is the handle how to handle objections manual, the one I showed you earlier. Okay, I'll send details on that. All right. The reason we must master handling objections is because we must deliver the response without hesitation. Now, we can pause, but we cannot look confused. We cannot look disappointed. It's part of it's part of our job, and we have to practice with proven techniques. Okay, these three words, practice, proven, techniques, is so important. Techniques, because it's a skill. Handling objections is a skill. Proven, that means they really work. And I don't know if this is the most important word. The most, to me, it's extremely important, is practice. When should you practice? You do not practice your objections or responses to objections with a prospect, with a client. You don't practice there. You are in the game, and that's when you deliver it. You practice on your own, or you practice with a coworker, or you practice on your own. You must practice every day until you can deliver the response without hesitation. And it's not an easy process. It's a simple process. All right. I can promise you this: with practice, patience, and persistence, you can become a handling objections professional. The trick is to never give up. All right. Now we are on the sixth session, 6 of 7, and we have one more session next Friday. Next Friday is, I believe, it's closing, how to close. Okay, and I would encourage you to be on our final session next week, next Friday, same time, 9:30. All right, and as I said, I'm going to send you out the recording of this session within 24 hours. I'm going to send you the details on the how to handle objections manual. I promise you, it's very, very powerful. It's so powerful because it gives you the chance to learn proven techniques, improve on it, and customize it for your business, for your product, your service. Okay. I'll also send you the reminder to register for next Friday's session. Okay. And I want to share about a very special sales mastery and excellence online workshop, online training that we're doing on 6, 7, and 8 of July. Now it's 3 days, but it's not 3 full days. It's 3 half days. It goes from 9:30 in the morning to 1 p.m. 6, 7, and 8 is a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Now some people will say, "Oh, you know what? It's 3 days." Well, yeah, we broke it up because what we found is that having it in full days, some people, the feedback was that it's too tiring. Okay, so we split it up. Actually, when we split it up, we actually split it up into 3 half days instead of 2 half days, And what that means is we're actually giving you more content, more skills, more techniques, and we explain with more examples. And there'll be more role play when we split it up into 3 half days. Now, these are the things that we're covering. There's two very important things in business and in entrepreneurship and in our sales profession. The first is we must have the right mindset, and I'm not talking about motivating you, because to me motivating is BS. What you need to do is that you need to motivate yourself. But motivating yourself doesn't work. Okay, what we need is we need to have confidence, competence, skills, and techniques, and the desire and the ability to take action on it every single day. So when I explain that, some people say, "Oh, that's discipline." Discipline is very hard because I'm going to teach you how to not be disciplined, but I'm going to teach you how to be regimented in your daily activities. Okay, um, most of us have two kinds of problems in the selling in our profession. The two problems is we need to enhance our skills, we need to enhance our sales skills, and that's what all these topics cover. Um, the other thing that we have a problem with is that we don't have enough leads and prospects. Whatever your closing ratio is, let's say your closing ratio is 20%, average 20%. If you have 10 leads a month, how many sales would you close? You will close two. If everything else remained the same, if your closing ratio remained the same at 20%, and we double the number of leads that you get in a month, instead of 10, you now get 20. Instead of 20, you get 30. And your closing ratio is still 20%. If you get 20 leads a month, you would now close 4 deals. If you get 30 leads a month, you would close 6. Everything else remaining the same, just changing the number of leads and your prospecting activities, your income goes up without changing anything else. Okay. Then we talk about the persuasion. We talk about the advanced handling objections. Then we talk about closing skills. Closing is actually the easiest part of the whole sales process. If you've done your job right in the very beginning up to that point, closing is so simple. And I'll talk about closing skills and closing techniques next Friday. Just know that on the 6th, 7th, and 8th, we're going to talk about how to sell without selling. And then I'll teach you how to follow up the right way so that you will never ever lose a deal again. Now, it's 3 days in July, the 6th, 7th, and 8th of July. It's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Goes from 9:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Okay. And I'll go through the pricing right now. I will tell you these are realistic prices. When we were doing this program in a live workshop, we were charging 700 US dollars. We did it online last year. Not in a public format, but we were charging 299 US dollars. Okay, to help you with the second half of 2021. And this is not a secret price, yeah. It's not like, this price is going to go down in the next 24 hours. For those of you that have joined me on previous sessions, the price is the price. Okay, it's the same price. It's not going to go down. I'm not going to give you bonus after bonus. The bonus is attending the session and getting the skills and doing better. That's the bonus. All right. Now, it's 75 USD. But in ringgit, it would be 297. In pesos, it would be 3,000. Okay, 3,000 and 297. You can attend so many other courses that are way cheaper and way more expensive. I'll share one quick experience with you. I've mentioned several times that I attend, these kinds of webinars, some worse, 2 or 3 times a week. All right. And I remember last week or 10 days ago, roughly about last week, I attended one where the presenter was a so-called sales expert, right? Talking about sales, this, and how to handle objections, how to close. And, they were charging like, I think, 997 or 1,997 ringgit, which is about 500 USD. for a 2 day class, 2 half days, and they talked about the session for like 45 minutes. They were selling for 45 minutes, telling us that I'm going to teach you how to sell, I'm going to teach you how to handle objections, I'm going to teach you how to be persuasive. So the next day, I got a call from one of the reps. It might even have been the presenter himself, but I got a call from the company, and they said, "Hey, Chris, you attended the session yesterday. Do you want to join in on the paid training?" And to test them, I said, "No, I don't think so." And the response was what shocked me. The response was, "Oh, okay, thank you, goodbye." That's how they responded. Instead of trying to handle objection or trying to have a conversation or trying to persuade me, their response was, "Oh, okay, thank you." If you're teaching selling, should you not be using what you teach in your business? If those on this session right now, if we've had any conversation, you will know that I will use whatever I teach. Okay, Celine, can you hear me? Celine, are you there? Is Celine still there? Okay, I'll come back to you in a minute. Yeah, Celine. Okay.
Yes,
So
I'm here.
okay, so let me ask you this question, yeah, Celine. This is not practice, yeah. But let me ask you this question. The things that you've seen me teach over the last few sessions and in other programs, do you see that I use what we teach?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay. And
Yeah, yeah.
without any arrogance, it's a very pleasant conversation when I'm selling you, isn't it?
Yeah,
Please. Okay. So
my
I mean,
son's
it is,
enjoying
right?
too.
Right, because we have a conversation. I'm selling you something, and I this is a very dangerous question. Okay, I make you feel happy to buy from me. I believe, because I really try my very best to do that.
Yeah, and I can
Yes,
see it
no.
too.
Okay,
I can see the
thank you.
process, and I say, yeah, into that process.
Right, right, because you're seeing my sales process, and you see exactly what I teach. Correct?
Yes,
Okay,
I agree.
and thank you so much, Celine. I know I put you on the spot, but ladies and gentlemen, I don't just teach you how to sell. Okay, uh, oh, okay, very good, George. Okay, so I don't just teach you how to sell. I show you how to sell. Okay, because I live and I breathe selling in a way that it's not overbearing, it's not desperate, it's not like hard sell. I make you feel good about buying, and these are the skills that I want to teach you, because I want to teach you how to make your prospects feel good about buying from you. All right. So I'll send you the link for this program, but do not buy from this link, because at 75 USD, it would be more than the 297 ringgit. It would be more than the 3,000 pesos. I'll have conversations with all of you next week, and I will contact you, and I will personally invite you uh, to be on that training on the 6th, 7th, and 8th of July. Okay. I look forward to having conversations with each and every single one of you. All right. Regardless of what country you're in, I will give you a call. Just know that if I give you a call, don't ignore my call or hang up on me. Okay. Um, the link that I will share with you, I'll put it in the email that I sent to you. I will also send a WhatsApp out to everybody with a couple things. I'll send you a WhatsApp to the link, the YouTube link of the recording of this session. You're welcome. You're welcome, Celine. I'll send you a link to the recording of this session. I'll send you a link to take a look at the How to Handle Objections manual. Oh, by the way, we used to sell that for 99 USD. We sold thousands of copies of that manual at 99 USD. 99 USD is roughly about 400 ringgit, roughly about 45. Is it 45? 45,000 pesos, I think. No, 4,500 pesos, right? Um, we're offering it this year at 1997 USD. I encourage you to get it. I will not force you to get it. Just know that if you get it, you will have all your objections listed out and you can customize it for yourself. It's about 50 pages, but we send it to you in a PDF format. Okay? It's 50 pages with 31 objections. And you get, on the price objection alone, you get about 60 to 70 plus responses. And I'm sure you can learn and master 5 to 10 of those. Okay. For those of you that do not have WhatsApp, I hope you have Viber. We'll contact you by Viber. These are my two numbers that you can get a hold of me that you see on your screen. The one ending in 8000 is a Malaysia number. The one 9909 is a US number. But you can reach me. By email. You can reach me by WhatsApp. You can reach me by phone. And that WA.link, most welcome, Fu. Okay, that WA link is a direct link to my WhatsApp. For those of you that don't have me in your WhatsApp, I'll put this link in the chat session when I unshare the screen before we end our session. So you can send me a WhatsApp, or you can search for me on Viber using the 8000 number. And I think you can use the 9909 number as well. Okay, so I want to share we're going to get into a Q&A in just a minute. Okay, so please ask me your questions. I'm here to answer them for you. My final thought of the day, my final thought of the day on this session, okay, is learn and follow a proven system. Learn and follow a proven system. Take the right action based on the system, and you will achieve proven results. You see, if you follow a proven system and you take this action, you will achieve these results. And you must do it consistently every day. You see, think about this, right? It's easier to eat McDonald's or eat pizza than to go for a run, right? It's easier to go and get ice cream to feel better about yourself than to find a supporter or a coach. It's so easy to say, I give up. It's too hard. What is hard to say is, I can do it no matter what, and I can do whatever it takes. And this is a battle that we all have every single day, because it's just too easy to say, I don't feel like prospecting today. I don't feel like following up today. Whether you feel like it or not, you got to tell yourself, I can do it no matter what, and I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to take action every single day. So don't just sit there day after day giving excuses and wasting time. If you ask yourself this question, okay? In fact, I'm going to ask you this question. Do not answer in the chat. Don't raise your hand. Just answer in your own head. Are you happy with your current results? Are you happy with your current income? If you're not happy with your current income, then do something about it. You see, if you continue not improving and not taking action, you're hurting not only yourself, but you're hurting your family. Okay? If you want it bad enough, you take action and do it. And I never tell any of my clients, any of my students, that this will be easy, because it's not. I'm telling you that it will be worth it. All right. So with that, let's get into our Q&A. Let me unshare my screen, and I would be happy and honored if, and I'll try to be helpful too. If you have questions, from today's session, if you have questions, you can type your question in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask me the question. And I'll do my very, very best to answer your question right now. While you're thinking of that, let me do this. Hold on one sec. Okay. I'm going to put my phone number, my email in the chat for us while you're thinking of a question. Okay, it should be there. Okay, do we have any questions? While you think of a question, I'd like to take a group picture with everybody. If it's okay with you, if you wash your face or put on a little bit of makeup today, or even if you're wearing a mask, if you can put your video on, let's take a picture. Fu, do you wear a different hat every session, or is it the same one? Okay, okay. Ash, if you can put your video on. Muhammad, Dorothy, okay. And let's see, I think almost everybody is here. Cecil, if you can put your video on, we'll take a quick picture. David, if you're ready. Okay, what I'd like to do is everybody give a nice, wonderful smile, as wonderful as Celine's, even though we cannot see it. On the count of three, one, two, three. Okay, awesome. Rosemary Richards, co-workers, is that right? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I noticed that you had a virtual logo that flashed on the screen earlier, Rosemary. Okay, right now let's take a serious picture. All right, we take a serious picture, and we're all gonna look as serious as 10. Let's look as serious as 10 with the Liverpool Football Club
You
background
always,
behind.
you always
Uh,
quote
I
me.
Right, because you always look serious 10. Okay, on the count of three. One, two, three. Okay. Wow, George, I can tell the seriousness of your look. Let's take one more. We take one more. Let's try to go a little wacky. Go as wacky as you can. Go as wild as you can. Richard, I know that you're extremely wild. Don't drink more than one, because once you drink more than one, you're going to be like the wild man, right? Correct? Okay, on the count of three. One, two, three. Man, you guys are a wild bunch. Okay. No problem, David. Okay, so do we have any questions at all about the session today? Do you have any questions about how to handle objections manual? Do you have any questions about the 6th, 7th, or 8th of July? Okay, so I'll mention this. If there are no questions, we'll end our session in probably 30 to 45 seconds. What I will say is that I'll get the recording sent out in the next within the next 24 hours. Okay, I'll put in the link for you to take a look at the how to handle objections. I'll put in the link for you to take a look at the online premium training for 6, 7, and 8 of July. Thank you, Celine. Thank you, Cecil. Sorry. Um, do not buy from that link, because it's going to be more. It's going to be more expensive. What I will do is I'll contact each one of you individually, uh, and I will ask you. I'm going to ask you a very simple question. I'm going to say, "Hey, are you going to join us on the 6th, 7th, 8th of July?" And if your answer is no, then you're going to see how I handle your response. Okay, if that's fair. So, do we have any questions on today's session at all? Okay, I will stop the recording right now.